Hello and welcome. So today I'm going to be talking about a very fundamental summarized statement that describes the general human behavior that is harmful to everyone and everything that exists. That's going to be the topic of this video. And to start, I'm going to start with an example. Or a question, really, involving an example. So, this is a rhetorical question. I was laughing. Is there a difference between somebody sexually harming another person, let's say an adult doing this to another adult, or a young child taking someone's toy away, stealing it and bringing it back to his house? Is there a difference? I mean, of course there's a difference. I mean, if I were to say is there a difference between an orange and a fruit, yes, of course there is. But there is a similarity between an orange and a fruit. They are both fruits. They both taste sweet. They both grow on trees. So yes, there's a difference, but I'm more interested in the similarity. What is the similarity between something like sexual assault, which we can call rape, and what appears to be simply, some would say, a very innocent child simply taking a toy from another child? And maybe you see where I'm going with this, maybe not. But let me first make my statement so it's very clear what I'm trying to state. That is the act of the selfish act, or the act of self-interest, where you are taking advantage of another and they are suffering for that, for your self-interest. And so this is a very general statement. Taking advantage of another for your self-interest. It's a very common, very general statement that describes rape, where there's a person who takes advantage of another person, takes advantage of their body, of their free will, for their own self-interest, which is a form of pleasure to them. The same with a child stealing another child's toy. They're causing another child harm, but they want the toy, and that makes them happy. Now, what is interesting that I can observe in these two cases, I as a child have stolen things from other children. So I am speaking from experience here, where when I did it, I felt good. And I wasn't thinking about how the other child was feeling, whatsoever. I just wanted to feel good. And so, perhaps looking now at the rapist, he or she, the rapist, is simply feeling good, trying to look for the feeling good, and is not even considering the other person. They don't feel bad whatsoever. There's no consideration. And so, if it could happen with a child, it could very be well the case with the rapist, where they just don't feel any remorse or sadness for the other person, or they're not regarding the other person in any sense. They're just going after what makes them feel good. Now, I obviously, maybe it's not obvious, but I purposely picked the topic of rape because of how obviously horrible, horrendous it is, and how so many would agree that it's something that is unacceptable. I could have easily picked murder, where a person is angry at another person, and when they kill someone, they have that satisfaction, or war, or war, war. When people go to war, soldiers fighting. Now, obviously, the soldiers aren't benefiting, but someone is benefiting somewhere in some way. Someone is feeling good. Even soldiers can enter in that feeling good. And even killing their first person, they feel good with it initially. Let's go into something more everyday, like financially, becoming a financial success, running a business, making lots of money, being really happy with that, and so on and so forth. Now, the challenge for me is to show how we are all participating within this same point of selfishness, where we take advantage of other people in our lives every day. Where it could be something like you're thinking a thought about another person, something negative about them, and that makes you feel good in some way. Or it could be any kind of, I had another example, but it was the same thing, where you enjoy someone else's suffering. Like if they lose something, then you win something, for example. Let's look at relationships, romantic relationships. I've been through this before, where you enter in a relationship with someone, you're not completely honest with who you are, and you enter in the relationship because you want the relationship, and coincidentally the other person you're with is also not honest about who they are, where what you say to each other is very minimal, what you share with each other is very minimal, very surface layer. It's not very deep, it's not very intimate, and it's simply both people trying to take advantage for themselves to feel good, when all the while you are actually not only taking advantage of the other person, but of yourself as well, because you're actually denying yourself something that could actually be real between you and another person. However, you are chasing a fantasy, a desire for a relationship, a desire to say that you have a wife, that you have a girlfriend, that you have a husband, that you have a boyfriend, and he or she is like this and that, and I've always wanted that. Taking advantage of animals, such as pets, where a person, for example, they adopt a pet and they are not looking out for the pet's well-being, their health, physical health, their mental sanity, their emotional well-being, such as, for example, having a dog, but you're always working, you're always away all the time, and so they sit alone at home the whole day, and they get fussed up and emotional, and because they're so alone all the time. That's one example. Same thing where any person doesn't feed or do the basic cares for their animal, like feeding or washing or all those things. Take advantage with friendships where we could gossip about another person, lie to another person, emotionally manipulate another person to get them to do favors for you. Those are just some examples. With children, being a parent, where one's desire for a parent is basically that, a desire, and without really realizing that it's a human being that you're taking care of, that you're supporting, that needs to grow, that requires your attention, your utmost, your responsibility. And there are parents who want a child just like wanting an object that they desire. In all these cases, what I've noticed in all these examples is that you're not actually, including with rape, you're not actually viewing the person or the thing you're taking advantage of, including yourself, those examples, as something that is real, as something that's valuable, as something that has life, as something that deserves regard and consideration as much as anything else in this existence. And so that's very common. That's a common point within all these examples, whether it's with the pet or with the child or with yourself in the relationship, or the other person. So this is what I want to show, that we're doing this every day of our lives in so many small and insignificant appearing ways. Now, the challenge is, how do we move forward with this awareness of really the worst person, the worst rapist? We're really participating within the same principle of my needs come first. I want what I want first. That basic selfishness, where you're taking advantage of other people and causing harm because you want what you want. It's the same. It's not like you can say that, oh, that person's kind of selfishness is worse. No. People do say that. That's like a self-honesty. You can see for yourself that it's really no different. And where do you think the rapist, do you think he was born like that? Where do you think he came from? He was a normal person, right? And a normal person is acting selfishly. Pretend like it's a scale, like a map, or like a chart, and it shows the progression where a person, when they're young, they start off with that selfishness, which their parents and teachers and friends show them and live, and then they evolve as they grow up, as a teenager, as adults, and they become everyone that's alive today. We all have a history. We all had a progression to become who we are today. And it didn't just happen overnight. And so consider this, that participating in this principle, in this program of selfishness, is what evolved and created all these different forms of selfishness. And that basic selfishness needs to be addressed and handled and worked out where it doesn't exist anymore. And it will take a progression of itself, a process of going through it and resolving it in all the various little ways we live it, in the major ways as well, of course. The process of this is a long process. It starts with awareness. It starts with a decision to change. It starts with one's own willpower to change. And it will happen inevitably by one's own will. It will happen. So, I wanted to show this, what I've seen, and I hope that you will consider this and take it into your life to see how you can improve yourself and to do whatever you can and look for whatever help and support you can to change yourself for everyone, including yourself. Because believe it or not, this act of selfishness is actually a disservice to yourself. And you will see and understand this, if you don't already, as you start reflecting on this and writing about this, about who you are, and you can see for yourself. All you have to do is take the time to reflect and look deeper. Okay, this is what I wanted to share. Have a good one, everyone.